I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This one's wife. The FaceTime leash. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. An article has been placed in People which attempts to maintain the facade on the part of this one's wife. As you know, she utilises many facades, and one of them is as a wonderful mother with a loving family. And the puff piece has been placed in order to tell the world what a lovely family the Sussexes are. But for those of you that understand narcissism, you'll be aware that what's actually going on is something that's more sinister. Janine Henney writes, as Prince Harry's trip to New York City kicked off, his family back home in California was on his mind. On September the 23rd, the Duke of Sussex FaceTimed his wife, this one's wife, and their children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, before he hit the stage at the 2024 Concordia Annual Summit in New York City. While chatting with his family, Harry panned the camera around the room, giving his children a mini virtual tour of the event space at the Sheraton New York Times Square Hotel. On the first day of his visit to New York City, Harry highlighted the Diana Award, the only charity established in his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales's memory, in a panel discussion on mental health. The Duke of Sussex was joined by Dr. Tessie Ojo, CEO of the Diana Award, along with two recipients of the Diana Legacy Award, Chiara Leanti Hutapi Zhang, aged 18, and Christina Williams, aged 27. He is just so kind-hearted. Not only was he helping us get comfortable with speaking on stage, but he comforted us after as well, Zhang told people at the event. And backstage, he was actually calling this one's wife. I thought that was just so sweet, and it helped humanize him. He made sure we had no nerves at all. Williams added, here is someone who is in a high-level role, who really cares about young people, cares about our voices and our actions. They say, you never want to meet your heroes, but I met someone who I admire, and I am leaving the experience still maintaining that admiration, or even more admiration, to know that he really cares about the causes that he represents. Well, not bad publicity for Prince Harry, demonstrating the emotional empathy that he indeed has, as described by these two fans. And of course, Harry is going to want good publicity as a consequence of the fact that ordinarily he receives a lot of bad publicity, primarily, of course, as a consequence of his behaviour and his involvement with this one's wife. The article continues by explaining Harry and this one's wife are known to keep in close touch with their kids when they're away from home, as opposed to actually taking them anywhere, of course. When the Duke and Duchess of Sussex visited Canada for the Invictus Games' 1 year to go event in February, this one's wife memorably took photos on her phone of Harry trying to adaptive ski to show the kids. So, there are various things that are coming out of this article. The first is, it's making Harry look good. Okay. But remember, this is his trip. This is his solo trip to New York City, where he's the one making the speeches, he's the one that's giving out the awards in relation to the Diana Legacy Award, which this one's wife has no involvement with whatsoever. And yet, the reportage about this has to remind us of the fact that he telephoned and FaceTimed this one's wife, and, of course, it then brings in the fact that Harry and this one's wife are known to keep in close touch with their kids. We don't need to know about that, but this one's wife wants you to know about it. It's necessary for her to once again hijack what Harry is doing by bringing up an event from the past for the purposes of her being mentioned. Once again, Harry can't go off and do something on his own without her being mentioned. And it isn't simply Harry's gone and done something and this one's wife isn't there, as other newspapers have reported, but it's all about, look, this one's wife keeps in close touch with her kids. Isn't she a wonderful mother? Facade managed. Let's bring up an event in relation to this one's wife from the past, a number of months ago, because she isn't at this event, but she has to be mentioned, because of course it's a threat to her control that Harry is going to go and do something without her. The article continues by explaining, Prince Harry, Williams, Zhang and Ojo came together for a discussion around the mental health crisis facing young people today and spoke about solutions to improve outcomes for their generation. The same day, the Diana Award announced the launch of its Decade of Youth Wellbeing amid its 25th anniversary year. The statement described the initiative as a bold, ambitious and collaborative plan to harness the power of young people, like Christina and Chiara, to lead positive change. For the Duke of Sussex, that encouragement and optimism begins behind the scenes. I think he was very encouraging of us, saying that we're going to go out there, we're going to do a great job. He also spoke about the things that he was very passionate about, like the climate, like trying to destigmatise mental health, bringing it down to a level of everybody's business. Williams told People, it's about mental health, but also about mental fitness and mental well-being. So I think that was really good to warm us up for the stage and just put us in a place where we spoke just from the heart. Prince Harry and his brother Prince William both support the Diana Award and each appeared, Harry virtually and William in person, at a London event celebrating the organisation's 25th anniversary in March, where they connected with the 20 Legacy Award winners from around the world. We are so honoured and what a privilege to have both her sons who support this work, and it is their mother's legacy. They are both immensely committed to driving change, Ojo told People at the Concordia Summit about what it means to have both of the late Princess of Wales's sons champion the cause. We know it's a privilege to have their support, and we will continue to work to make them proud and to keep their mother's legacy alive. Thus, reportage about the awards, about the legacy, about Harry being a good egg, but notice once again that this one's wife has to be involved. She has to be involved by being mentioned. She has to be involved with regard to apparently being a good mother that keeps in contact with her children, even though she's not at this event. But also, the fact that Harry engaged in what seems like two separate calls, a FaceTime call and a telephone call, although it might be the same one, it's not clear, is demonstrative of the behaviour of the narcissist. To the uninformed, they may well just think, isn't that sweet, that he's calling home, that he's showing the kids where he is, but it's all part of the necessity of control being asserted over him. He's about to go to an event. He's about to speak. He's dealing with award winners. So he ought to be focused on those matters. Yes, he might want to show the children where he is. But what's really behind this is the fact that this one's wife needs to maintain control over him. And on the basis that Harry has gone there without her necessary approval, or even if it is with her approval, she still needs to draw fuel from him intermittently, but moreover, she still needs to maintain control over him, because it's on a moment-by-moment basis. If we assume that this one's wife sanctioned this visit, therefore Harry going was not a threat to control, that means in the moment that she agreed that he could go, control has been obtained. But thereafter, once he's away, she still needs to maintain control over him. And that's why there'll be repeated text messages between him and her that he will have to, in effect, check in, that he calls, that he will be doing FaceTime calls. It will be done under the auspices of, oh, let's see where you are. But those of you who have been involved with narcissists will know that often the narcissist wants you to send photographs of where you are, or even to do a FaceTime call, not because they're actually interested in what you're doing and where you are. They want to see what you're up to check that you're not misbehaving, that you are where you say you are, to ensure that you are then under control. And these are hoovers from this one's wife. The telephone calls where she contacts him, the text messages that she sends to him, are done in order to get him to respond, and he must respond promptly so that he demonstrates that he remains under control, that he provides fuel. The fact that Harry contacts her, that isn't a hoover by her, but it demonstrates that he remains under control. And Harry will have been conditioned by this one's wife to ensure that he keeps in touch. Now, there may be some of you who be thinking, that's a rather cynical view, HG, but plenty of people get in touch when they're away to have a chat. Yes, they do. But what you have to understand is that the motivation of those people who are not narcissists is entirely different from what motivates the narcissist behavior. Where a non-narcissist is contacting a non-narcissist, that's because they want to find out, are you having a nice time? How are you getting on? Oh, where are you? What does it look like? And it won't be repeatedly through the day. It might be at the end of the day to have a chat about how the day has gone, to put the kids on the line so they can speak to their dad. There's nothing to do with control. It's driven by emotional empathy, allowing the non-narcissist to have space to do what they do, but also the non-narcissist who's away, exhibiting emotional empathy for the person who's at home and the children by saying, I miss you, I think about you, here's where I am, including them. But substitute one of those individuals with a narcissist, and whilst it might seem that the narcissist is taking an interest in what the non-narcissist is doing, what they're really doing, because remember, they are a narcissist, is contacting them under the auspices of, are you having a lovely time? But what's really driving the behavior, because they are a narcissist, is asserting control over the non-narcissist who is away by finding out what they're up to, by drawing fuel from their responses. The narcissist will invariably engage repeatedly with the non-narcissist, more often than a non-narcissist would on a non-narcissist throughout the course of the day, that they would be sending repeated text messages, ringing up possibly at inopportune times, because it's necessary for her to assert control over Harry when she happens to think about him, i.e. he comes up on the radar. And whilst this story is portrayed as a sweet FaceTime call, because we know this one's wife is a narcissist, what you're actually witnessing is a conditioned victim basically ringing in as if it's part of his bail conditions to let her know what he's up to, so that she subconsciously gains that sense of control. Once again, by understanding that there is a narcissist in this dynamic, you're able to understand what is truly occurring. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.